Hi brave coin hunters, welcome back on Rare Bucks. Stop everything you are doing right now and listen to me very carefully, because what I am about to share with you in this video is going to permanently transform the way you look at every single Roosevelt dime you ever touch for the rest of your life. Most Americans think of the Roosevelt dime as the most ordinary, most forgettable, most completely unexciting coin in their pocket. Change a tiny 10-cent piece that barely registers as it passes through everyday transactions at coffee shops and parking meters and vending machines all across the country. But here is the truth, that most people never discover certain surviving examples of 5 specific Roosevelt dime dates are worth thousands and thousands of dollars to the collectors and auction houses that understand what they are looking at. And those coins are sitting in old coin albums, forgotten jars, inherited collections, and unexamined coin rolls in homes all across America right now. Today we are counting down 5 of the most valuable and most genuinely exciting Roosevelt dimes in the entire modern series, and by the time we reach number 1, you are going to be searching through every single dime you own with completely new eyes. This countdown starts right now. First up, coin numismatists. Starting our countdown at number 5. We have the 1976 D Roosevelt dime struck at the Denver Mint with the D Mintmark, and before we discuss a single value or a single auction result, I need you to understand the specific and powerful historical context that makes this coin so much more interesting and so much more significant than most people who encounter it ever stop to realize. The year 1976 was the Bicentennial year of the United States of America, the 200th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. A year of national celebration and patriotic reflection that produced some of the most memorable and most collectible coins in the entire history of American numismatics. While the United States Mint was producing special bicentennial designs on the quarter, half-dollar and dollar coin during 1975 and 1976, the Roosevelt dime continued with its standard design unchanged, and that continuation of the standard design during such an extraordinary year gives the 1976 D a specific collecting identity and a specific historical context that serious numismatists appreciate and respond to with genuine interest. The Denver Mint's production of Roosevelt dimes in 1976 was conducted under bicentennial year production conditions that created a population of surviving coins whose characteristics in the highest certified grade levels reveal a condition rarity story that most people who encounter this date in everyday life never take the time to discover. The D Mintmark on the reverse of this coin, positioned just above the torch and olive branch design on the Roosevelt dime's classic reverse, confirms its Denver Mint origin and the specific striking characteristics of Denver's 1976 dime production created a situation where the finest surviving gem uncirculated examples represent a genuinely small and genuinely valuable fraction of the total production output. The face value of the 1976 D Roosevelt dime is 10 cents, and in circulated condition, a typical well-worn example is worth exactly that dime in any transaction, which is the version of this coin that has passed through millions of American hands during the bicentennial year and in the decades since without generating any excitement or any recognition of its potential value. A nice circulated example with good luster remnants might command a small premium at a coin show from a collector who appreciates the bicentennial year context. But the circulated value of a typical 1976 D Roosevelt dime remains close to its face value for the vast majority of surviving examples. The genuinely exciting value story begins when you move into certified gem uncirculated territory graded by PCGS or NGC. And what the finest certified examples of the 1976 D have commanded at heritage auctions and Stack's Bowers is genuinely impressive for a coin that most Americans dismiss as an ordinary bicentennial-era pocket piece. The Roosevelt Dime series rewards collectors who understand the full bands designation in a way that is directly analogous to the full steps designation in the Jefferson Nickel series. The full bands designation on Roosevelt Dimes, awarded by PCGS and NGC to coins displaying sharp, fully separated, completely defined horizontal bands on the torch that appears on the reverse center of every Roosevelt Dime, is one of the most powerful value drivers in the entire series, and on the 1976 D, achieving that full bands designation in the highest certified grades is considerably more difficult than the overall mintage numbers would suggest. The specific striking characteristics of Denver's 1976 bicentennial year production meant that the torch bands on the reverse were frequently soft, incomplete, or poorly defined across much of the production run, creating a situation where true full bands gems from this date represent a genuinely small certified population that drives real and sustained collector demand. In certified MS65 full bands condition, graded by PCGs or NGC, the 1976 D Roosevelt Dime has sold at heritage auctions and Stack's Bowers for prices reaching well into the hundreds and in the most competitive auction scenarios into the thousands of dollars, reflecting the documented scarcity of the full bands designation on this bicentennial year Denver dime in the highest certified grades. The finest known examples in MS66 full bands and MS67 full bands represent coins of genuine and documented rarity whose appearances at major auction venues generate competitive bidding from advanced registry, collectors who understand exactly what they are pursuing and exactly how difficult it is to locate a true full bands gem from this specific production year and mint facility. The prices those competitive bidding scenarios have produced reflect values in the thousands of dollars for the absolute finest known examples. Prices that document the genuine premium the collector market places on perfect bicentennial year Denver dime survivors in the most demanding grade and designation combinations. The variety and error story of the 1976 D Roosevelt Dime adds substantial additional excitement for the dedicated treasure hunter willing to examine this bicentennial year coin with proper magnification and systematic attention. Double die obverse varieties from 1976 D production have been documented and attributed by Konica and other major variety research organizations, and confirmed examples showing strong, clearly visible doubling on Roosevelt's portrait, the date, Liberty, or In God We Trust command prices that reflect the compound value of a significant variety on a bicentennial year Denver dime. Repunched Mintmark varieties on the 1976 D, where careful examination under magnification reveals a second D punch beneath the final accepted Mintmark, have been documented and carry meaningful premiums among the specialist variety collectors who focus on Denver Mint dime attributions from this era. Off-center strikes on the 1976 D Roosevelt Dime are among the most visually dramatic error coins available from this bicentennial production year, with significantly offset examples retaining a fully intact and clearly legible date and D Mintmark commanding prices reaching into the hundreds and well into the thousands of dollars at specialized era coin auctions, where the combination of the bicentennial year's underlying historical significance and the dramatic visual impact of a major strike error drives competitive bidding from multiple collector communities simultaneously. Wrong planchet errors, broad strikes, die cracks, cuds, and clash die examples where the reverse design left ghost impressions on the obverse die are all documented from 1976 D Roosevelt Dime production, and each of these error categories carries genuine and established monetary value in the specialist collector markets that pursue significant production anomalies on historically meaningful dime dates. The 1976 D Roosevelt Dime, at number 5 on this countdown, earns that starting position through the combination of its bicentennial year historical significance, its Denver Mint full bands condition rarity, its documented variety and error landscape, and the genuinely impressive auction performance of its finest certified examples at the most prestigious numismatic venues in America. This is a coin that carries America's 200th birthday within it, and the finest surviving examples of it are worth prices that honor that historic anniversary in the most direct and most financially compelling way possible. But now get ready, because number 4 is coming, and the Philadelphia Roosevelt Dime with no mint mark has a condition rarity story and an error landscape that is going to build on everything we just discussed and push it into completely new territory. You absolutely cannot miss what is arriving right now. Number 4 starts immediately. Next up, coin collectors. At number 4 on our countdown, we have the 1979 Roosevelt Dime, struck at the Philadelphia Mint with no mint mark, and stepping into the late 1970s with the Roosevelt Dime series means entering a period of American coinage history that is simultaneously very familiar to most Americans who grew up handling these coins, and deeply underappreciated in terms of what the finest surviving examples of specific dates from this era are genuinely worth to the collector market today. The year 1979 was a year of extraordinary historical drama in America: the Iranian hostage crisis, the energy crisis, skyrocketing inflation, and a national mood of profound uncertainty and anxiety that defined the end of the 1970s in the American consciousness. A Roosevelt Dime struck at the Philadelphia Mint in that specific year of late-decade national crisis carries the character of that turbulent historical moment in ways that collectors who think about their coins in historical terms find genuinely compelling. The Philadelphia Mint's production of Roosevelt Dimes in 1979 was conducted on a large scale to meet the everyday commerce demands of an American economy that, despite its inflationary challenges, was still producing millions of transactions daily that required circulating coinage. The no mint mark on the obverse of this coin confirms its Philadelphia origin in the way that was standard for Philadelphia production before the introduction of the P Mintmark on circulating coinage in 1980. And the specific die characteristics and striking conditions at Philadelphia during 1979 created a population of surviving coins whose characteristics in the highest certified grades reveal a condition rarity story of genuine financial significance. The face value of the 1979 Philadelphia Roosevelt Dime is 10 cents, and a circulated example found in everyday pocket change is worth precisely that dime in any transaction, which represents the value reality for the overwhelming majority of surviving examples of this date. The modest collector premium that attaches to late 1970s no mintmark Philadelphia dimes in circulated grades reflects the general interest in Roosevelt Dime date sets and the approaching end of the no mintmark era at the Philadelphia Mint, but does not begin to approach the values that certified gem examples of this date have achieved at major auction venues. In certified MS-65 full bands condition, the 1979 Philadelphia Roosevelt Dime has sold at heritage auctions and Stack's Bowers for prices reaching well into the hundreds and into the thousands of dollars for properly graded and authenticated specimens, reflecting the documented scarcity of the full bands designation on this late 1970s Philadelphia dime in the highest certified grades. The full bands designation is the key that unlocks the genuine value of the 1979 Philadelphia Roosevelt Dime. And understanding what makes full band certification so rare and so valuable on this specific date requires understanding the striking characteristics of late 1970s Philadelphia dime production. The torch on the reverse of every Roosevelt dime features horizontal bands that must be fully struck up, fully separated, and completely defined to earn the full bands designation from grading services. And on the 1979 Philadelphia date, these bands were consistently soft or poorly defined across the majority of the production run. The certified population of 1979 Philadelphia Roosevelt Dimes in full bands grades above MS-64 is genuinely small. And that small population drives competitive collector demand that consistently produces impressive prices at major auction venues. Finest known MS-66 full bands and MS-67 full bands examples of the 1979 Philadelphia Roosevelt Dime represent extreme condition rarities that the most advanced Roosevelt Dime registry collectors have been pursuing for years, and when these exceptional survivors appear at heritage auctions, the competitive bidding they generate from collectors who understand exactly what they are pursuing produces realized prices well into the thousands of dollars. These are real auction results from real transactions between real collectors who have spent years learning the Roosevelt Dime series in sufficient depth to understand that a 1979 Philadelphia dime in MS-67 full bands is a genuinely extraordinary coin worth a genuinely extraordinary price. The variety story of the 1979 Philadelphia Roosevelt Dime is rich with documented collecting opportunities for the collector who approaches this late 1970s Philadelphia date with systematic attention and proper magnification. Double die obverse varieties from 1979 Philadelphia production have been documented and attributed by Konica and other major variety research organizations, and confirmed examples showing strong, clearly visible doubling on Roosevelt's portrait, the date, liberty, or the motto carry prices that reflect the compound value of a significant variety on a late 1970s Philadelphia dime that is already desirable as a condition rarity in the highest full band certified grades. Die crack progressions, clash die examples, and coins struck through foreign material that partially blocked Roosevelt's portrait or the torch reverse design from fully striking up are all documented from 1979 Philadelphia dime production and all carry genuine monetary value among the specialist error collectors who pursue these specific types of production anomalies. Off-center strikes on the 1979 Philadelphia Roosevelt dime carry the additional historical weight of being late 1970s Philadelphia production failures from the final no Mintmark era at that facility. And the finest dramatically offset examples retaining a complete visible date have sold for prices reaching well into the hundreds and potentially into the thousands of dollars depending on the severity of the offset and the overall quality of the coin's surfaces and strike characteristics. The 1979 no Mintmark date gives these error coins a specific and meaningful identity within the broader Roosevelt Dime era collecting universe, because they represent the final years before the Mintmark changed the visual character of Philadelphia dime production forever. The 1979 Philadelphia Roosevelt Dime at number 4 earns its countdown position through the combination of its late 1970s historical significance, its end of no Mintmark era numismatic identity, its documented full bands condition rarity, its rich variety and error landscape, and the genuinely impressive auction performance of its finest certified examples at major American numismatic venues. This is a coin that delivers far more value and far more excitement than most people who encounter it ever stop to discover. Now hold on tight, because number 3 is the Roosevelt Dime from the Philadelphia Mint with the Mintmark. And the story of this coin includes one of the most historically significant production changes in the entire modern Roosevelt Dime series, combined with a condition rarity and variety value profile that is going to absolutely blow your mind. Number 3 starts right now. Next up, Coin Warrior. Number 3 on our countdown brings us to the 1980 Roosevelt Dime, struck at the Philadelphia Mint. And the P Mintmark that appears on this coin's obverse is not just a simple identifier of mint of origin, it is a historically significant marking that tells a specific and important story about a permanent change in American coinage that happened in 1980, and that makes the 1980 P. Roosevelt Dime one of the most historically distinctive and most numismatically interesting coins in the entire modern dime series. The year 1980 was the first year that the Philadelphia Mint used the P Mintmark on circulating coinage, ending decades of tradition during which Philadelphia coins were identified by the absence of any mintmark, while coins from Denver, San Francisco, and other mint facilities were positively identified by their specific mintmarks. That change, making the 1980 P one of the first Roosevelt dimes ever to bear the Philadelphia Mintmark in the coin's production history, gives this coin a specific and permanent historical identity that the numismatic community has recognized and valued in the most direct and most financially meaningful possible way. The first P Mintmark Roosevelt dime is the kind of coin that makes date-set collectors, variety collectors, and numismatic historians all simultaneously excited, because it represents a visible, permanent, and immediately recognizable change in the way that American coins identify their mint of origin. Before 1980, a no mintmark Roosevelt dime meant Philadelphia production. Starting in 1980, the P Mintmark confirmed Philadelphia production in a positive and unambiguous way for the first time in the dime's history. And the 1980 P is the inaugural issue of that new era. That inaugural status carries specific and substantial value implications within the Roosevelt dime collecting community that are reflected clearly and consistently in the auction results for the finest surviving certified examples of this historically transitional date. The face value of the 1980 P Roosevelt dime is 10 cents, identical to every other Roosevelt dime in everyday commerce. A circulated example in everyday condition is worth that dime and perhaps a small premium, reflecting the coin's significance as the first P Mintmark dime and its approaching 45-year age. But certified gem uncirculated examples of the 1980 P in full bands condition tell a dramatically different financial story, with auction results at Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers reaching into the hundreds and in the finest known cases well into the thousands of dollars for properly graded and authenticated specimens in the highest certified grade and designation combinations. The full bands condition rarity story of the 1980 P Roosevelt dime is one that rewards the collector who takes the time to study the certified population data carefully and systematically. The Philadelphia Mint's production of Roosevelt dimes in 1980, the first year of the new P Mintmark era, was conducted under production conditions, whose specific die characteristics and striking pressures created a population of surviving coins where the torch bands on the reverse were consistently soft or poorly defined on the overwhelming majority of production. True full band survivors from the first P Mintmark year represent a documented rarity in the highest certified grades. And that rarity, combined with the historical significance of the inaugural P Mintmark date, drives collector demand and collector prices to levels that consistently and impressively exceed what casual observers would expect. MS-66 full bands and MS-67 full bands examples of the 1980 P Roosevelt dime are coins that advanced registry set collectors actively pursue and actively compete for at major auction venues, and the prices those competition scenarios have produced document a value level for the finest known examples in the thousands of dollars range that would completely reframe most people's understanding of what a 1980 P dime is actually worth. These prices reflect the compound appeal of the inaugural P Mintmark historical significance combined with the genuine and documented scarcity of full band survival at the top of the grade spectrum for this important transitional production year. The variety story of the 1980 P. Roosevelt Dime is particularly exciting because it represents the first production year under the new P. Mintmark system, and the Mintmark punching practices and die preparation methods used in this inaugural P. Mintmark year created specific variety opportunities that collectors who study this date in detail have documented and attributed. Double die obverse varieties showing strong doubling on Roosevelt's portrait or the primary obverse inscriptions have been documented on the 1980 P. And confirmed examples carry prices that combine the inaugural P. Mintmark premium with the additional excitement of a significant variety attribution. Repunched P. Mintmark varieties on the 1980 P were the very first year of P. Mintmark usage shows evidence of double-punched mintmarks represent a particularly compelling variety category that has attracted specialist interest and specialist prices within the Roosevelt Dime variety. Collecting community. Off-center strikes on the 1980 P. Roosevelt Dime are error coins of compound significance because they represent major production failures from the inaugural year of the P. Mintmark and dramatically off-center examples retaining a complete visible date and P. Mintmark have sold for prices reaching into the hundreds and potentially well over $1,000 depending on the drama and quality of the specific error. Die crack varieties, clash die examples, coins struck through foreign debris, and lamination error coins from 1980 P production are all documented and all carry genuine monetary value in the specialist error markets that pursue significant production anomalies from historically meaningful dime production dates. The 1980 P. Roosevelt Dime, at number 3 on this countdown, earns that final podium position through the extraordinary historical significance of its inaugural P. Mintmark status, its documented full bands condition rarity at the highest certified grade levels, its rich variety and error landscape from the first year of a new production era, and the genuinely impressive auction performance of its finest certified survivors at major American numismatic venues. This coin changed the way American dimes identify their mint of origin, and the finest surviving examples of that change are worth thousands of dollars to the collectors who understand what they are holding. Now we are in the top 2 of this countdown, and number 2 brings us the Roosevelt Dime from the Philadelphia Mint with a P. Mintmark, a coin whose full-band certified population story has generated some of the most dramatic and most intensely competitive auction results in the entire modern Roosevelt Dime series. What you are about to hear about is going to leave you absolutely stunned. Number 2 starts right now. Next up, coin lovers. Number 2 on our countdown is the 1988 P. Roosevelt Dime struck at the Philadelphia Mint. And stepping into the territory of the final 2 coins on this list means we are now discussing Roosevelt Dimes whose value stories represent the absolute upper tier of what the modern series has to offer collectors who pursue it with genuine knowledge, genuine patience, and genuine financial commitment. The P. Mintmark on the obverse of this coin confirms its Philadelphia Mint origin, and the Philadelphia Mint's production of Roosevelt Dimes in 1988 created one of the most dramatically documented full-band scarcity situations of any modern dime date from either the Philadelphia or Denver Mint in the entire post-1980 era of the series. The year 1988 was a year of significant political and cultural activity. In America, it was the presidential election year that produced the Bush-Dukakis contest. A year of late Cold War tension combined with the growing sense that the geopolitical world order established after World War II was beginning to shift in fundamental ways. A Philadelphia Mint Roosevelt Dime, produced in that specific late Cold War moment, carries the character of that extraordinary historical transition. And collectors who appreciate the historical context of their coins respond to the 1988 P with an interest that amplifies the already extraordinary numismatic appeal of this key condition rarity date. The production story of the 1988 P. Roosevelt Dime in the context of its full band certified population is one of the most dramatic in the entire modern Roosevelt Dime collecting universe. The Philadelphia Mint's striking conditions in 1988 resulted in a population of surviving dimes where the torch bands on the reverse were almost universally soft, incomplete, or entirely absent, making full band certification in grades of MS-65 and above extraordinarily difficult to achieve and genuinely rare among the total surviving population. The certified population at PCGS and NGC for full bands examples of the 1988 P in MS-65 and above is genuinely and provably small in a way that drives real and sustained collector demand for every confirmed full band certified example that surfaces at major auction venues. The face value of the 1988 P Roosevelt Dime is 10 cents, and a circulated example in everyday condition is worth exactly that dime in any transaction, which represents the value of the overwhelming majority of surviving examples of this date that passed through everyday American commerce after their production in 1988. But a certified MS-65 full band's 1988 P. Roosevelt Dime has sold at heritage auctions and Stack's Bowers for prices reaching well into the hundreds and in the most competitive auction scenarios into the thousands of dollars for properly authenticated and graded specimens. As the grade climbs into MS-66 full bands territory, the values escalate significantly. And in the truly extraordinary territory of MS-67 full bands, where the certified population at both major grading services becomes vanishingly small, the prices realized at major auction venues have pushed well into the multi-thousand-dollar range in competitive auction scenarios where advanced registry collectors compete with genuine intensity for the opportunity to own what may be the finest surviving example of this key condition. Rarity modern dime date. The registry set collecting community for Roosevelt Dimes is one of the most competitive and most intensely pursued collecting activities within the broader modern American coin series landscape. And the 1988 P is the coin that separates the truly elite registry sets from those that fall short of the highest possible quality standards. Collectors who have assembled impressive Roosevelt Dime registry sets across dozens of dates and mint combinations have consistently identified the 1988 P full bands as one of the single most difficult and single most expensive coins to acquire for their collections. And that universal identification as one of the series' greatest challenges is reflected directly in the prices that confirmed full band certified examples command whenever they surface in the competitive auction marketplace. The variety story of the 1988 P. Roosevelt Dime adds further collecting excitement for the dedicated hunter who approaches this key date with magnification and systematic attention. Double die obverse varieties from 1988 P production have been documented and attributed by Konica, with confirmed examples showing strong, clearly visible doubling on Roosevelt's portrait or the primary obverse inscriptions commanding prices that reflect the compound value of a significant variety on the most challenged and most coveted modern full band's dime date. The combination of a confirmed double die variety attribution and a full band's designation on a single 1988 P dime would create a multiply, desirable numismatic object of extraordinary compound rarity that would generate intense competitive bidding from multiple specialist collector communities simultaneously. Off-center strikes on the 1988 P Roosevelt Dime, dramatic die crack formations that progressed to cuds on 1988 P production dies. Clash die examples where the torch reverse left ghost impressions on the Roosevelt obverse die, and coins struck through various foreign materials that partially blocked, Design elements from fully transferring to the coin's surfaces are all documented from this production year and all carry genuine and significant monetary value in the specialized era coin markets, where knowledgeable collectors compete for the finest surviving examples of production anomalies on key modern Roosevelt Dime dates. The most dramatic confirmed error examples from 1988 P production have sold for prices that reflect the compound rarity of a significant error on what the collecting community universally recognizes as one of the most demanding and most financially significant condition rarity dates in the entire modern Roosevelt Dime series. The 1988 P Roosevelt Dime at number 2 earns its runner-up position on this countdown through the extraordinary and documented scarcity of its full-band certified population, the consistent and impressive performance of its finest certified examples at major auction venues across multiple years of competitive market activity, and the genuine and well-established reputation it has built within the Roosevelt Dime collecting community as one of the greatest challenges and one of the greatest rewards available anywhere in the modern American Dime series. And now we have finally arrived at the moment that this entire countdown has been building toward from the very first second of this video. Number 1 is here. The Roosevelt Dime from the Philadelphia Mint with the P Mintmark is about to be revealed as the single most valuable, the single most historically significant, and the single most aggressively pursued condition rarity in the entire modern Roosevelt Dime series. And what I am about to share with you about this coin's certified population, its documented auction performance, and its legendary status within the Roosevelt Dime collecting universe is going to deliver the most powerful and most unforgettable conclusion to this entire countdown. Number 1 starts right now. Last one. Ladies and gentlemen, the absolute undisputed pinnacle of this entire countdown. The coin that sits at the very top of this list through a combination of documented production rarity, extraordinary auction performance, and a reputation within the Roosevelt Dime full bands collecting community that every serious numismatist who pursues this series knows by heart and acknowledges with genuine and profound respect. The 1996 P Roosevelt Dime struck at the Philadelphia Mint is not just the best coin on this countdown, it is one of the single most important condition rarities in the entire modern American Dime series. And the story of why it earns the number 1 position above every other coin we have discussed today is one that will permanently and completely change how you think about every Roosevelt Dime you ever hold in your hand from this moment forward. Let us begin by establishing the historical context that frames the 1996 P within the broader story of American life at the moment of its production. The year 1996 was the year of the Atlanta Summer Olympics, the year of the re-election of President Bill Clinton, a year of mid-1990s American economic expansion and cultural energy that characterized what many economists and historians look back on as one of the most prosperous periods in post-war American history. A Philadelphia Mint Roosevelt Dime produced in that specific year of mid-1990s prosperity and national confidence carries the character of that moment in the most direct and most permanent possible way. And collectors who think about their coins in terms of the American life that surrounded their production respond to the 1996 P with an interest that goes beyond the purely numismatic into the realm of living historical memory for anyone who was alive and paying attention to American life during that extraordinary mid-decade moment. But the truly extraordinary story of the 1996 P Roosevelt Dime is not primarily a story about historical context, as powerful as that context is. It is a story about what happened during the production of this coin at the Philadelphia Mint, and what the results of that production mean for the collector who is lucky enough to own a certified full bands example of this legendary date in the finest possible grade. The Philadelphia Mint's production of Roosevelt Dimes in 1996 resulted in one of the most dramatically documented full-band scarcity situations in the entire history of the modern Roosevelt Dime series. A situation where the certified full-band's population at PCGS and NGC is so genuinely small relative to the overall mintage of the date that even veteran collectors who have studied this series for decades are sometimes stopped in their tracks when they first examine the population data and fully absorb what it means for the value of confirmed surviving full bands examples. The specific striking conditions at the Philadelphia Mint in 1996 created a production environment where the horizontal torch bands on the reverse of the Roosevelt Dime, those precise, thin, parallel lines that must all be fully separated and completely defined to earn the full band's designation from grading services, were struck with a consistency of softness and incompleteness that made full bands certification in any uncirculated grade genuinely extraordinary, and in the highest uncirculated grades virtually miraculous in its rarity. The overwhelming majority of 1996 P. Roosevelt Dimes in existence today, whether circulated or uncirculated, show torch bands that are soft, blended, incomplete, or entirely missing the sharp definition that full band certification requires, and that overwhelming majority status of non-full bands examples is what makes the rare full band survivors so genuinely and so profoundly valuable to the collectors who understand what they represent. The face value of the 1996 P. Roosevelt Dime is 10 cents. 10 cents. A single dime, and in circulated condition, a typical 1996 P. Roosevelt Dime is worth that 10-cent face value and nothing more in any transaction in the American economy today, which is the version of this coin that fills the pockets and purses of Americans who encounter it in everyday change without any awareness whatsoever of the extraordinary numismatic story hiding within this apparently ordinary coin. But a certified MS-65 full band's 1996 P. Roosevelt Dime, graded and encapsulated by PCGS or NGC and representing one of the genuinely rare survivors with sharp, fully separated, completely defined torch bands in certified gem uncirculated condition, has sold at heritage auctions and Stack's Bowers for prices reaching well into the hundreds and in the most competitive auction scenarios clearly into the thousands of dollars. These are real prices from real transactions, and they document a value for the certified full band's 1996 P that transforms a 10-cent coin into a coin worth amounts that most people will simply refuse to believe until they see the actual auction receipts. Push the grade of a full band's 1996 P. Roosevelt Dime into MS-66 full band's territory, where the certified population at both PCGs and NGC becomes extraordinarily small in a way that makes even experienced collectors pause when they first examine the population data, and the values escalate into the multi-thousand-dollar range that reflects the genuine scarcity of what is being offered, and the genuine intensity of competitive collector demand waiting to absorb each example that surfaces. The finest known MS-67 full bands examples of the 1996 P. Roosevelt Dime are among the most coveted and most aggressively bid coins in the entire modern Roosevelt Dime collecting universe. Coins whose appearances at heritage auctions generate the kind of intense, competitive, financially serious bidding from the most sophisticated Roosevelt Dime registry collectors in the country that produces realized prices at levels that document the extraordinary premium the market places on absolute perfection in the modern series' single most challenging full bands date. The registry set collecting competition for the finest certified Roosevelt Dimes has never been more intense or more financially serious than it is in the current market, and the 1996 P full bands is universally recognized within that collecting community as the single date that determines the ceiling of achievement for any registry set competing at the highest level. Collectors who have spent years and significant financial resources assembling impressive Roosevelt Dime registry sets all understand that the 1996 P full bands in the finest possible certified grade is the key that separates a genuinely elite registry set from everything below it. And that universal recognition drives a sustained and serious demand for the finest known examples that the auction results consistently and impressively document. The variety story of the 1996 P Roosevelt Dime adds an entire additional dimension of extraordinary value and collecting excitement on top of an already legendary condition rarity narrative. Double die obverse varieties from 1996 P production have been documented and attributed by Konica and other major variety research organizations, and confirmed examples showing strong, clearly visible doubling on Roosevelt's portrait, the portrait of one of America's most beloved presidents, on one of America's most familiar coin designs, Liberty, In God We Trust, or the date command prices that reflect the compound desirability of a significant variety on the modern Roosevelt Dime series' single most famous and single most valuable condition. Rarity date. The combination of a confirmed strong double die obverse variety and a full bands designation on a certified MS-65 or above 1996 P Roosevelt Dime would create a numismatic object of such extraordinary compound rarity and such extraordinary compound desirability that the value such a coin would command at heritage auctions or Stack's Bowers would be genuinely difficult to predict with any confidence, because the intersection of the series' rarest full bands date with a significant confirmed variety creates demand dynamics that transcend normal market calculation. Off-center strikes on the 1996 P Roosevelt Dime represent some of the most historically significant and most numismatically extraordinary error coins available anywhere in the mid-1990s American dime production universe. A 1996 P Roosevelt Dime that is dramatically off-center, displaying a wide crescent of blank planchet on one side, while Roosevelt's portrait and the date remain sharp and complete within the struck area, is a coin that simultaneously represents the modern Roosevelt Dime series' single greatest full bands rarity date, and one of the most spectacular Philadelphia Mint production failures from the mid-1990s production era. The finest and most dramatically offset, confirmed 1996 P off-center strikes retaining a complete visible date and P Mintmark have commanded prices at specialized error coin auctions reaching well into the thousands of dollars, because the compound rarity of a major strike error on the single, most sought-after date in the modern Roosevelt Dime full bands collecting universe creates a value dynamic that reflects all of that compound significance simultaneously and fully. Wrong planchet errors on the 1996 P Roosevelt Dime represent the most extreme and most compound error category available within this legendary condition rarity dates production. And any confirmed surviving example of a 1996 P Roosevelt Dime design struck on a planchet intended for a different denomination is a numismatic object whose value is defined simultaneously by its significance as a production error coin, its significance as a 1996 P Roosevelt Dime, the most famous condition rarity date in the modern series, and the extraordinary visual and conceptual impact of a dime design appearing on entirely the wrong metal in entirely the wrong size and weight. These coins represent discoveries of genuine and staggering numismatic significance, and their values reflect every dimension of that significance with full and complete financial acknowledgement from the specialized collector markets that pursue and celebrate the most extraordinary surviving examples of American mint production failures. Broad strikes, clash die examples, dramatic die crack progressions that developed into full cud formations on the 1996 P production dies. Coins struck through grease or other foreign material that blocked portions of Roosevelt's portrait or the torch reverse from fully striking up. And lamination errors where the clad layers separated from the coin's core before, during, or after the striking process have all been documented from 1996 P. Roosevelt Dime production, and all carry genuine and significant monetary value in the specialized markets where the most knowledgeable error coin collectors compete for the finest surviving examples of production anomalies. On this most important of modern American dime dates, the 1996 P. Roosevelt Dime earns the #1 position on this countdown because it represents the absolute and complete synthesis of everything that makes Roosevelt Dime collecting one of the most intellectually demanding, most historically rich, and most potentially rewarding pursuits available to any American who loves their country's coins and loves the extraordinary hidden stories those coins carry within them. It is a coin produced in the mid-1990s with a face value of 10 cents that has sold at the most prestigious auction houses in America for prices measuring in the thousands of dollars. It is a coin that every serious Roosevelt Dime collector knows by name, tracks by population report, and pursues with genuine intensity and genuine financial commitment across every auction season where a confirmed full-band certified example appears. It is a coin that proves beyond any reasonable doubt that extraordinary value is hiding in the most ordinary-looking dimes, in the most ordinary-looking places, waiting for the person who has the knowledge, the patience, and the attention to recognize it for the numismatic treasure it truly and genuinely is. Final thoughts. And that brings us to the end of one of the most exciting and most genuinely valuable Roosevelt Dime countdowns ever assembled on this channel. 5 coins spanning from the bicentennial year 1976 D. Denver Mint Dime all the way to the legendary mid-1990s 1996 P. Philadelphia condition Rarity that stands alone at the very top of the modern Roosevelt Dime full bands collecting universe. Every single coin on this list proves the same fundamental and powerful truth: the most extraordinary numismatic value is hiding in the most ordinary-looking coins, in the most ordinary-looking places, waiting for the collector who has invested the time and the effort to understand what they are actually looking at when a dime passes through their hands. Search your coin rolls, examine your old dime collections, go through every Roosevelt Dime jar and album and inherited set in your home with the knowledge you gained from this video today. And never dismiss a Roosevelt Dime without giving it the careful examination it genuinely deserves. If this video gave you something valuable today, please smash that like button right now. Subscribe to this channel immediately and ring that notification bell so you never miss another coin video from us. We publish new content every single week covering the rarest and most valuable American coins hiding in plain sight all across this great country. Subscribe right now and join our incredible and growing community of coin hunters. We will see you in the very next video. Happy hunting, everyone!